Hey guys, welcome back to Sip and Dip with Chelsea. For today's video, I'm going to be sharing what my favorite odorless dip powder liquids are, how to use them, and why you may want to. So let's dive in. The shine that you see on my natural nails is Peel Base. I use Peel Base to pop off my dip powder manicures in about 1 to 3 days. I will link my tutorial up above if you're interested, but just make sure that you prep your nails to last if you want your manicure to last. I'll be using the shade Chelsea from Color My World Dips. This is one of the ones that we created together. She did add this color to her main line, so I'm really excited about that. So you can actually still purchase this one, and I'll pair it with Spring Fling, which is a gorgeous, fun, spring chunky glitter. Here's the star of the show, and as you might have guessed, my favorite odorless liquids are from Color My World Dips, and they are truly odorless. So first we need to fluff up our powder, and then remove the excess product on our base liquid brush. It's really important to do thin, even layers, so this is about how much product that I have on my brush, and I'm going to do a full coat across the entire nail, making sure I do not get this on my skin and that I'm covering the whole nail. Once I'm done, then I'm going to dip at an angle in the jar and tap off the excess powder. Then with my precision tool, I'm going to clean up around my cuticle area. This is also from Color My World Dips. You can use a toothpick too as well. So we're going to follow the same steps, removing the excess product and doing a thin, even layer on our nails. So you might be wondering why you would even want to use odorless liquids. Well, if you've ever suffered from dip flu, which is when you have an allergic reaction or your sinuses get irritated by the scent or odor of regular dip powder liquids, this is a really great solution without going into the gel method. So you can use odorless liquids to help prevent any sort of odor sensitivity to the products. The other thing that is different about odorless liquids from regular dip powder liquids is the dry time. So if you notice on my middle finger, it looks a little bit tacky, but my thumb looks fully dry. It's got powdery look to it. That means this isn't dry yet. The base liquid still is tacky. So I'm going to dip back into the jar so it gives that liquid something to absorb into, which is the powder. And I'm going to do that for each of my nails. You don't have to do this. I just like to do this because I feel like it helps absorb into that liquid better and dries a little bit faster. Each base layer can take anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes to fully dry. So if you've ever used regular dip powder liquids, this might come as a little bit of a culture shock to you to have to wait, kind of like how you have to wait with nail polish to dry. So I'm going to wait a few more minutes before I dust this off. And now another shock. Okay, so I know 99% of the time I always suggest a stiff scrub brush. Well, today I'm going to suggest a fluffy dusting brush. This is because this liquid really does, I can't stress this enough, it takes longer to dry. So we need to use a fluffy dusting brush just in case until you're used to this formula so you don't accidentally use a stiff scrub brush and literally scrub it all off of our nail. So I'm going to use a fluffy dusting brush. It's a little bit more gentle, but it's still effective to get all of the excess powder off. Now we're going in for our second coat, removing the excess product on our brush and doing a full even layer. It's very important to do thin layers with this product because it is slower drying. So if we were to do a thick layer of this on our nails, it's going to take even longer to dry. So I'm going to tap off, and if I notice it's still a little bit wet, then I dip right back in. This is something that maybe you're not used to with your regular dip powder liquids because some dip powder liquids do dry really quick. So I want to stress this so that you don't feel disappointed if you do try out this product. It is a slower drying formula. So even if you don't suffer from dip flu, you may like an odorless liquid if maybe you have little ones in your house. I've talked to so many other mommies out there who really don't like the smell of the liquids just because their children are around, which I totally understand. So this can be a great solution for that as well. I see it still looks a little tacky, so I'm going to dip back in again, tap it off, and here's a great example. Do you see how wet and shiny my middle finger is? That is because it is still wet. So I am going to dip back into the powder again. You don't have to do this. I just feel like it helps absorb better and it's going to give more of a color payoff. So I'm going to dip back into the powder, tap it off, and do that for each of my nails and then let it dry. I'll also show you later in the video what happens when you don't dip back into the powder so that you can see how it looks as well. Once it's completely dry, then I'm going to use my fluffy dusting brush to dust it off. 99% of the time, I would do a layer of clear right now, so I like to do 2 layers of color, 1 layer of clear, but because this is more of translucent shade, I'm actually going to do 1 more layer of Chelsea on top, and it's going to serve as my encapsulation layer as well. So let's chat about some more positives on why you would like this liquid set or formula, or why you might want to try it. So a slower drying formula is very beginner friendly. You don't have to feel rushed. You can clean it up. It's great for when you do ombre designs, which I'm going to show you during this video. It's great for chunky glitters, which I'm also going to show you because you have time to press them all down, make sure it's laying flat, remove any pieces or add any pieces. Overall, a slow drying formula can be a really big positive, but it can also be a negative for those who are used to dipping because we're not used to having to wait for it to dry or even re-dipping. So as you can see again, I have to re-dip. It's not a big deal to me, but it could be to you. So it's just something to be aware of if you're used to a faster drying formula. Once they're fully dry, I dust it all off. Now it's time for spring fling, so I'm going to do another thin layer across my whole nail, and then I'm going to pour over. So I like to pour over for my first layer. I feel like it keeps the layers thin, and it also gives me more of those smaller fine pieces on my nail instead of laying my nail flat and getting lots of big pieces. It's just my personal preference. There's no wrong answer here, especially with DIY nails. So if you want to lay your nail flat and just do 1 layer of chunky glitter, that's totally okay. You can dip in whatever you want to do. So I'm just making sure everything is laying flat on top of my nail, nothing sticking up. And then I'm going to use a different brush to dust it off. That's just because I don't want to contaminate my other one with glitter. We're going to do another full layer of my base liquid on top. And then this time I'm going to lay my nail flat on top so that I do get those big chunky pieces. Now I'm going to gently press everything down. You can see it lays down beautifully all on its own. I love this glitter. I see it's a little bit tacky still, so I'm going to dip right back in to make sure that the liquid has something to fully absorb into. Here's how we're looking. I love this glitter. I've got my ombre brushes here. This one is from Color My World Dips, and the other one is a Wet n Wild brush. So I've got one for my solid and one for my glitter. I'm going to do a full layer across my entire nail, and then I'm going to dip my brush into the glitter. I'm going to just tap it around because I'm trying to get just some of those smaller, finer glitter pieces to fully coat the nail. I've got my finger laying almost flat, and now I'm just going to go side to side, rolling my finger, going sidewall to make sure I really coat the free edge of my nail first. Once I'm happy with it, then I'm going to very gently and carefully press down those glitter pieces without touching the other wet spots on my nail. This is not sped up at all. This is why I love a slow drying formula for an ombre or any sort of design, because I don't have to rush. So I'm just going to move my glitter to the side, and then I'm going to dip this in and fully coat the nail. I'm okay with this going across the glitter pieces because it is very sheer, almost like a clear pink, if you will. So it's okay to go on the glitter pieces. I just want to make sure it's fully coated before it dries. Now I'm going to use another brush to dust it all off. For my second coat, I'm going to focus up here in this Chelsea shade area, and then I'm going to go down on top of the glitter pieces. This is just a precautionary step so that I don't get any random stray glitter pieces over in my clear area. Then I'm going to start with the glitter again, just trying to get some of those fine pieces and tap it anywhere that I see is a little bit bare. I always feel like it's important as a community that we share in the comments and things because I find it helpful for everyone. So if you have tried odorless liquids, feel free to share your experience down in the comments. If you've tried other brands, I would love to hear what other brands offer this solution to their customers because it is an issue for some people. So I think it's highly commendable that Amber, who's the owner of Color My World Dips, does offer this product for her customers. So feel free to share down below if you've used it, if you have dip flu, what are your experience so others who are watching this video can go learn from you as well. So notice how I do still have that shine on my pointer finger and my ring finger. That's because I didn't go back in to add more powder. I'm not going to do an ombre nail 10 more times while the liquid dries. So the liquid will dry on its own. So don't be afraid to just let the liquid air dry. You don't have to keep redipping or have to keep redoing your nails. So notice I didn't redip back on that glitter. I'm just going to dust off just in case, but it is fully dry. It's just going to have that shine because I didn't add more powder back to it while it dried. Now I'm going to clear encapsulate my nails that have glitter. So again, I'm going to focus in that area with Chelsea and then drag the base liquid down across the glitter, dip into my clear dip powder, and tap the excess off. I see my pointer finger is still a little bit wet, so I'm going to dip back in again, do the same thing on my ring finger, and then I'm going to wait a couple minutes to let them dry. Once they're fully dry, I just dust everything off, and now we're going to activate. So I want to show this to you guys, the full thing. Notice I'm dipping right in and I'm not wiping off any excess. It is so important to do a very, very generous layer of activator. This is what's going to harden the base liquid so that we can file, shape, and buff. So don't go light on this. Really soak your nails so it fully penetrates through all of the layers. After a full 2 minutes have passed, you'll know if they're ready to shape and they're properly hardened when you hear a clicking sound. So you can tap your nail file on your nail, and when you hear this clicking sound, then you'll know they're done. I'm going to start by going around my free edge shape first, and then I'm going to file across the entire top surface. Once I'm happy with it, then I use my buffing block to smooth it all out. Once I'm done with all of my nails, then I'm going to use my stiff scrub brush to dust everything off. Now it's time to activate again. So now this layer of activator is going to help our top coat. So it's very important again to make sure we fully coat the nails going around that free edge too, because this is going to help the top coat properly dry and have that really high shine that we're looking for. Now we're going to wait 2 minutes before we go in for top coat. After 2 minutes have passed, I'm going to use a dry napkin to rub it across the entire top surface of all of the nails. You can also use a dry lint-free wipe or a paper towel. I'll also be showcasing the odorless top coat today, so it's also important to make sure we remove the excess product. Doing thin layers is so crucial with these products. So we're going to do 3 quick strokes on the nail, and that's our first coat. We don't have to do a very detailed one for the first one. It's just 3 quick strokes, making sure we're doing thin, even layers. This is also a slower drying formula. So once I'm done with this first one, I'm gonna let it sit for about 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes before going in for my second layer. The second layer is more detailed, more precise, so we're gonna get all the way to those sidewalls and cap off our free edge. So like I mentioned, this is a slow dry formula. So after the second coat, we're gonna wait 10 minutes for it to dry. Now you might be wondering why you would want to do an odorless top coat. Well, just like the base coat, regular dip powder liquids, their top coat does have an odor. So if that bothers you, this is a great solution. If you don't like the long dry time of odorless liquids, you can also try the gel method. Gel products typically don't have a harsh odor as well, but I know a lot of you guys have gel allergies. So this is a really great solution for those who have dip flu but don't want to try gel products yet. So I waited about 10 minutes and I put on my cuticle oil, so now I am done. If you are interested in these products, feel free to reach out to Amber. She is such an amazing business owner. She truly cares about her customers and offering solutions if they have any issues, like I mentioned with dip flu, or just do not like those harsh odors. If you do have any issues when you try out these products, because it can be kind of a culture shock going from dip liquids, regular dip liquids, over to odorless liquids, definitely reach out to Amber and get some advice, because she is the master of these products. She's been using them for so long. And thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope that you found today's video helpful, and I'll see y'all next week.